So Rush Limbaugh speculated about the Mosque massacre in New Zealand, and you'll never guess who's to blame, according to Rush.
39 people dead, many more wounded in a terror attack in New Zealand, ostensibly by, and according to Fox News, the graphic at the bottom of the Fox News page moments ago said, a white nationalist who hates immigrants performed the dirty deed in New Zealand. Now, the terrorists had published a manifesto, and the manifesto includes the claim from the terrorist shooter that he's not a conservative, that he's not a Christian, that he identifies as an eco-fascist, and he adds that he disagrees with Trump on politics. This is an amazing list of things to put in your manifesto. It indicates an awareness of how media is going to tend to report this. And, of course, media is reporting this, that it is precisely the fault of Donald Trump. Another thing that happens here when these events happen, you have all kinds of speculation that erupts. And there is an ongoing theory. Mr. Snerdley, correct me if I'm wrong about this. There's an ongoing theory that the shooter himself may in fact be a leftist who writes the manifesto and then goes out and performs the deed purposely to smear his political enemies, knowing he's gonna get shot in the process. And you can't immediately discount this. The left is this insane. They are this crazy. And then if that's exactly what the guy's trying to do, then he's hit a home run, because right there on Fox News, the shooter is an admitted white nationalist who hates immigrants. You try to absorb all of this, try to keep some kind of an even keel about it. And then from the manifesto again itself, the shooter says he's not a conservative, not a Christian, and that he identifies as an eco-fascist, which would make him a supporter of the Green New Deal. He adds that he disagrees with Trump on politics.
I mean, it really is incredible. There's no grappling with the reality of what this guy stood for. There's no introspection at all. And all there is deflection. That's it. That's all there is. He really is part of this school of thought that everything that's bad is left wing. Full stop. That's how he's structured the world in his own mind. Everything that's bad is left wing. In fact, a while ago, I had asked you guys on Twitter, send me like a fake mock book cover that says like everything bad is left wing, because there's so many arguments that I see online that boils down to that position, that like it's just blame the left. It's always the left's fault. The left by definition is the problem here. And you guys think like, hey, this can't be a pervasive thing. Steven Crowder's made a career on this, dude. Steven Crowder wrote articles and did segments saying, oh yes, Hitler was a left-wing socialist. I mean, it's just such a dishonest framing, and they're misleading you on purpose. Because I got news for you. There are white nationalists, and there are like literal neo-Nazis who have a plethora of opinions on taxes, who have a plethora of opinions on unions, who have a plethora of opinions on Austrian economics versus Keynesian economics. That is not the operative factor in what leads them to murder minorities. I mean, it's so obvious I shouldn't have to say it, but obviously I have to say it. I mean, we are so close to the territory of, like, Hitler liked dogs, and I know many lefties who like dogs. Checkmate. The left is like Hitler. I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. That's the realm of discourse that we're at. So he keeps reiterating, not a conservative, definitely not a conservative, not a conservative, not a conservative. Not a Christian, definitely not a Christian. Disagrees with Trump. Obviously, he disagrees with Trump. He disagrees with Trump. And this could be a leftist trying to smear the right. That's what's happening here. And he loves the Green New Deal. He loves the Green New Deal. Let's drag in Ocasio-Cortez and try to make her responsible for a white supremacist, white nationalist terrorist attack. Man, just be honest. Just be upfront about this shit. You know, if you read the guy's manifesto, he talks about how he wants to take care of the environment. Now, that doesn't mean that, therefore, environmentalism is forever tainted and nobody can be an environmentalist and everybody needs to be in favor of destroying the environment because this guy was in favor of the environment. Again, it's the Hitler trick. Hitler liked dogs. Oh shit, you like dogs? I guess you're like Hitler. And then in other areas, he was obviously extremely far right wing. He said law and order was something where he's like, well, we must enforce law and order. And it's ironic because, of course, he went on to murder people, which violates law and order. But obviously, the animating belief at the core of his worldview is whites are superior, everybody else is inferior, and I'm literally willing to kill to make that point. I'm willing to kill to say our lands have been infested by, dirty minorities and ethnic minorities, religious minorities, and I'm willing to kill to fight back against that. And another part in his manifesto, he apparently said that Trump is like brings a renewed sense of white identity to people, which is a good thing. So weird how he leaves out that this guy's beliefs on race are deeply, extremely far right-wing, and he tries to just focus on, oh no, there's a few areas that were not connected at all to what he did here, where he may have been considered left, therefore it's the left is the problem here, and the left is trying to smear the right. I mean, this guy, the thing about Rush Limbaugh that's fucking fascinating is that he's a genuine dumbass. Like, he's not sophisticated in his propaganda, he's obviously not intelligent, he's not well-read, and so he's a one-trick pony, and he's done this one trick for the decades he's been on air. It's just, I forgot the question. The answer is blame the left. And if you can't see through that, I mean, honestly, that's beyond embarrassing. Because take this show, for example. It's not like we're the equal and opposite version of Rush Limbaugh. I'll go after what I think is the left whenever I think they're actually wrong. So whether you talk about what some call the authoritarian left, which is people on the left who want to control on social issues, and they're anti-free speech, for example, I'm against them, and I speak out against them all the time. I speak out against the corporate Democrats who are nominally on the left, but in reality, economically, they're actually pretty far right-wing, and socially, they're liberal, but they really just use that as a mask to get people to support a primitive economic agenda, a draconian economic agenda that they wouldn't otherwise agree with. So I got plenty of criticism for the left, and I'll be robust in those criticisms, and I'll try to be say things that are true, and really dive into these subjects and treat everything with a fine-tooth comb. Rush obviously just doesn't do that. It's just blame the left, blame the left, blame the left. Oh shit, a white supremacist terrorist? I guess that's the left's fault somehow. I mean, dude, just give it a rest, man. Give it a rest. And maybe, just maybe, a little bit of advice for, the people who really are steeped in that anti-immigrant rhetoric. Maybe reel it in like 25%, please. Because even if, I don't think it's fair to say there's a direct line between shit Rush says and Trump says and what this guy did. And even in the case of Ben Shapiro, where there was a guy who shot up a mosque in Quebec, and he was a huge fan of Ben Shapiro, I'm not saying there's a direct line from that to that, okay? In other words, you got to believe in free speech, and we default to people get to say what they want as long as they're not advocating direct threats of violence, and these guys never did advocate direct threats of violence. However, they should do at least a minimum amount of introspection and realize that, hey, maybe sometimes I do go too far. Maybe I shouldn't, stress certain points that I have stressed in the past. Maybe I am fostering an environment where stuff like this might end up being more common, and just be more responsible. But it's the opposite of that. He's not taking responsibility by any stretch of the imagination, and he's just trying to say, it's such a disingenuous response. Oh, it's the left's fault. It's a lefty who's trying to smear a righty, and Green New Deal, yeah, somehow blame Ocasio-Cortez, somehow blame Democrats, and it's just gross, man. It's just gross, and it's hard to believe that this convinces anybody, but I guess there are some people out there who watch this and go, yeah, right on. Well, congrats on constructing a fucking impenetrable bubble around you, a bubble of nonsense.